began quite a few years ago now. It's been a long journey. The story actually began long ago. I wanted to do a film called The Guardians. My very close friend, Merrilee Leonard, who was also the executive producers, or one of the executive producers of this film, always felt that I should do this story. And I was sort of fairly reluctant to do it. I felt it had its used time date. However, some weeks later she came to me and said, I have met a person at a dinner party who is a wonderful writer and is in the film industry, and I think you two should get together because I think really you shouldn't let the Guardians go. So she set up an appointment that we would meet in a coffee shop. And I arrived there first and I saw this man standing in the cafe, and I said, are you Greg? And he said, yes. And Mayla and her partner Doug forgot about the meeting and forgot to turn up. So we are two strangers meeting each other over a cup of coffee. And I told him about the reason that we were meeting, that Mayla felt the Guardians. And that was really, the premise of that was to bring in all of the ancient tribes, or the tribes, the indigenous tribes, of all of their spiritual truth, bring them together so that people could see a whole truth in the many different stories. I had felt it had used its time, its time had come and gone. And Greg was telling me about his real connection and interest in Uluru. So somehow by the end of the meeting, of the coffee, we felt, well, maybe we should explore it. And then we did start to explore it. And this exploration took quite a few years before you now have finally seen this finished product. And we started with the title, which was Connecting All, based on the premise that we were trying to connect all of the different parts to show a whole picture here. And we had a big vision. It was going to be a 6-part series. We realized we were tackling something that was perhaps much bigger than what we were really capable of doing. So it started to get narrowed down. After a long, long time of doing each different episode, first the indigenous people, then the whales, and it just went on and on and on. It was a wonderful journey, because when you start this journey, you have to start to go deep inside. And this is one of the things that we realized. As much as we were doing something for an outer world, the biggest thing was the inner journey that we had to take doing this. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful. It's altered my life, it's changed my life. Then, because we were going to do a section on the whales, because I've had an innate love for dolphins more than whales, and have spent a lot of time with dolphins, and understanding their essence. Whales I always held a little bit separate. They, to me, was something that I had the greatest respect and awe to, but they were larger than life. They were overwhelmingly magnificent. Intuitively, I always felt that the whales, through their sonic sound, were on a wonderful mission here for 40 million years of keeping the balance between the universe and here, holding that balance through that sound. And also because their sound travels, in tribes, they sing their song and it goes from one tribe to the other tribe, so it eventually goes across the globe. And with deeper feeling, I could see they were actually singing into the song lines, or the ley lines, all of that held the balance here. So their role became very, very important. And the more we started to think about this, the more they came in as a main theme that we were going to set everything else around. So I can't remember the time, because this is a few years, but after really working on Connecting All for, it felt like months and months and months, we decided to change track. And then it was, well, what voice do we talk to the people through? And we're so sick, well, I am sick of, and I'm sure many people are, of being lectured, of being told this, being told that. Didn't want to do that. So suddenly we thought, what if it was the whale talking to humans, right? What would they be seeing from their perspective of all that they're holding? What would they have to tell us? So then we got excited because we thought, yes, we will do this through the voice of the whale. And we still kept working and working, trying to find the right tone, when suddenly it really dawned, in fact it was Greg's suggestion, that maybe this should be done more like in a Shakespearean way, in a poetry form, that you could feel rather than analyse with your head. And I'm a great believer, never talk to the head, never talk to the brain. It's too complex, it tries to work out things. If you can bypass that and go straight to the heart, straight to somewhere, people get that information far more, or that knowledge far more than information. So then it was like, all right, we've got the person, the entity, the being that's going to talk to humanity, and we've got the form in which to put it. And from then, it all just started to roll. So then we suddenly found that we really, with the help with the whales, were on more of a magical journey. And this journey was very deep and very profound, because in a sense, it brought up a lot that we had to face inside ourselves, because we were going to deal with the shadow. So then I had to work on my shadow. And that is actually a very scary thing, because it's not where you think it is in the obvious places. There are things that are very deep-rooted in you. And I'm incredibly grateful for that, because it was a hard journey, but when I went through it, I realized that actually without the shadow, without looking at it, without facing it, I would never have the awareness that I have now. So that was a godsend. So each section of the film, of whatever we were saying, I don't quite like using a word, but I'm trying to think of something else, was an initiation for us as well. So it was doing two worlds at the same time, our inner world and an outer world. And for me at the end, what came together was something magical that we felt we could step aside, it would hold its own, hopefully.